Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today is an introduction to inequalities, and I would suggest that you pause the video right now and go and make a copy of this sheet that I have attached to the lesson. It might be easier for you to take some notes in here and understand where we're going with it as we go, rather than just watching the video. All right, then you can pause where you need to fill things in. Okay, so hopefully by now you have a copy of this sheet, and let's get started. So an inequality means that two things are not equal. So you'll see at the top we have these different symbols here. This is our greater than symbol. This is our greater than and less than. Sorry, greater than and equal to. This is our less than, and the last one here is less than or equal to. So we have some keywords. Eventually we're going to be translating some sentences into inequalities. So these are our keywords that we're going to look for, and we're going to do one column at a time all the way down. So if I'm looking at the greater than symbol, some keywords in a sentence might be is more than, is greater than, is larger than, and above. Notice that all of these have the word is to it. Right? If I don't have the word is, and I have just more than, that implies addition. Or 12 greater than 8 implies addition. But when we add the word is, that means we're changing it into an inequality where one side is not equal to the other. So let's take an example. There are more than 25 students in our class. So that means we have possibly 26 students, 27 students, 50 students, 100 students, and so on. 25 is not more than 25, so we cannot have 25 students in the class. So our inequality might look like this. I'm going to use n for the number of students. So n is greater than 25. And we're going to test out our possible solutions here later on. So if I want to graph this on a number line, we would be using what's called an open circle. I'm going to draw a number line here. And I'm going to put 25 in the middle. We're going to increase towards the right to make it 26, and one lower, 24, towards the left. So an open circle means I'm going to put an open circle that is not colored in over the number 25. An open circle means 25 is not a solution. It can't be true for this inequality. And we know that 25 is not greater than 25. And since we're looking at numbers that are all greater than 25, I'm going to draw an arrow towards the right, towards 26, and all those numbers that are bigger than 25. So this is graphing our inequality. So let's test some solutions out. I'm going to start with n is greater than 25, and let's test out n equals 25. If I substitute 25 into the inequality for n, I notice that this is not true. So this is not a true statement. 25 is not possible. Let's test out n equals 26. So we have 26 is greater than 25. Yes, that inequality statement is true. So 26 is a possible value in this inequality. That means there could be 26 people in her class. Let's try n equals 50. I'm going to substitute 50 in. 50 is greater than 26. Yes, that statement is true, so that means there could be 50 people in our class. All right, let's go on to the next column. So the next column we have is the greater than and equal to, or greater than or equal to sign. Some keywords that we're going to look at or look for are a minimum of, at least, is not less than, or not smaller than. So the example we have here, it was at least -4 degrees Celsius in Toronto yesterday. So what are some possible values? Well, at least means it's a minimum. That means it can't go lower than that. But it could have been -4 degrees Celsius, so that's a possible value. And warmer than negative 4, well, it could have been 0. It could have been 10 degrees Celsius, right? Anything higher than negative 4. So I'm going to use T for temperature here. So T is greater than or equal to negative 4. This time we're going to use what's called a closed circle to graph it. And again, I'm going to draw a number line. I'm going to use negative 4 in the middle, because that's what's part of our inequality. Just to the right would be negative 3, that's bigger than negative 4, and just to the left would be negative 5. So a closed circle means I'm going to put a circle over the negative 4 and color it in. That means negative 4 is a possible value here. And then we're going to draw an arrow towards all the larger numbers, since this is greater than or equal to negative 4. Let's test out some possible solutions. So let's try n equals negative 10. I know that's smaller than negative 4, but we're going to show in our inequality it's not true. So negative 10 is greater than or equal to negative 4. I know that statement is not true, so that means negative 10. It couldn't have been negative 10 degrees Celsius in Toronto. Let's try n equals negative 4. So negative 4 is greater than or equal to negative 4. It's not greater than, but it is equal to negative 4, so that means this statement is true. So that means negative 4 is a possible temperature in Toronto yesterday. Let's try n equals 0. So 0 is greater than or equal to negative 4. Well, 0 is greater than negative 4, so that makes the statement true. And that means 0 is a possible temperature in Toronto yesterday. All right, our next column is the less than sign. So some keywords we're looking for is smaller than, is less than, or below. Let's look at the example. We raised less than $300 in the fundraiser. All right, so numbers or values that are smaller than 300, well, it could have been $299.99. That's just less than 300. Could have been $0. That's less than 300. So the money we raised, I'm going to use M for money, has to be less than 300. And again, in this case, we're going to use an open circle since we could not have raised 300 exactly. And I'm going to point something out towards the end once all of these are drawn in, and what you should look for to determine whether it's open or closed. So again, we're going to put our 300 right in the middle of our number line. And it's up to you how you want to count here, whether you want to go up to 301, up to 400. I'm going to, let's see, we'll go up by $1. 301, that means just before it is $2.99. So we're going to use an open circle over the 300, and we're going to point an arrow towards all the values that are smaller than $300, towards the left. Right, so this graph shows me that $300 is not possible because there's an open circle here, but anything just smaller here, like $299.99, or $299.50, or $299.01, all of these values are possible. Right? That's why we're not starting at $299, because everything between $299 and $300 is possible. All right, let's test out some solutions here. Let's try 300. So 300 is less than 300. Nope, 300 is actually equal to 300, so this statement is not true. That means we could not have raised $300. We'll try n equals $299.99. So $299.99 is less than 300. Yes, that's true. So that means we could have raised $299.99. And we'll do n equals 0 as well. 0 is less than 300. That statement is true, so it's possible we raised no money. All right, our last column here is the less than or equal to sign. Some keywords there: maximum, at most, not more than, is greater than. So our example here, the highest grade was not more than 98. So in my mind, I'm thinking if it's not more than 98, it couldn't have been 99 or 100, but it could have been 98, could have been 50, could have been 75, anything that's smaller than 98. So I'm going to use G for our grade is less than or equal to 98. We're going to use a closed circle since 98 is a possible value. We're going to draw a number line. We'll put 98 in the middle, 99 just to the right, 97 just to the left. And I'm going to draw a closed circle over 98, color it in. That means 98 is a possible value. And we're going to draw an arrow towards the left to all those smaller numbers. So let's test out some values. Let's see if it's possible for someone to have gotten 100. So I'm going to substitute 100 in for G, so it's 100 is less than or equal to 98. That's a false statement, so that means couldn't have gotten 100 on the quiz. Let's try out n equals 98. So 98 is less than or equal to 98. That statement is true. 98 is equal to 98. So that means we could have gotten 98 on the quiz. And let's pick 50 for our last one. 50 is less than or equal to 98. It is less than 98, so it's true. That means 50 is a possible grade we could have gotten on the quiz. And I'd like to go back, now that we have all the graphs filled in, pay attention to where there's an open circle or a closed circle. These, the first and the third one, have open circles, and notice in the inequalities there's no line underneath the inequality. Okay? For the other two that have closed circles, they do have the line underneath showing it could be equal. So when we have the addition of this line underneath for these signs, we're using a closed circle because it's possible for the value to equal that number. All right, that's it for today's video. I know it's a lot of information. If you have questions, hop onto the call and I will speak to you soon. Bye.